Hello, my name is Peter Christensen, and I will be presenting the basics, drawbacks, and strengths of nuclear ship propulsion. This presentation subject originates from my time in the Navy, where I saw salt and pepper shakers dancing around on tables on the 40-year-old ship I was stationed on. Unfortunately, I was just too sleepy then to realize how awesome that really was. So before we start, I want to make a few things clear. First, this presentation does not cover any of the math or specific equipment used by the U.S. Navy on their ships. Second, this presentation is not meant to reveal the capabilities of any U.S. Navy ship, past or present. The first point that can be made about Navy reactors is that they are much tougher than their civilian counterparts, because they have to be able to absorb shock, as well as remain safe in rough seas that would see their civilian counterparts shut down. For all the toughness of the reactors, the U.S. Navy is actually just after the heat generated from stopping the nuclear reactor. They use this to move their ships and launch aircraft. In order to harness this heat, they use high-pressure water, which prevents the water from turning into steam from the extreme heat of the reactors. After cooling the reactor, the pressurized water goes through a closed loop leading to a heat exchanger and then back to the reactor. Once the superheated water from the reactor goes through the heat exchanger, the water in the heat exchanger turns into steam, and then the real heavy lifting begins. On submarines, the steam goes through a closed loop, leading either to the electric generators or the turbines that propel the ship, and then to a condenser and returned as water to the heat exchanger. However, on a carrier, the system operates a little differently. While some of the steam still goes through a closed loop to the generators and turbines, and the result of the torque generated by this process is what I saw on the mess decks that day. Some steam also goes on a one-way trip to the catapult, where it is used to accelerate aircraft. Now let's talk about some of the benefits, drawbacks, and achievements of the nuclear navy. So starting with the drawbacks. The first one is the higher cost of building a nuclear ship over a diesel. With that also comes longer build time because of the specialized equipment used. Also, with being nuclear, come safety issues like those experienced by the Fukushima power plant. Safety concerns like these oftentimes create political roadblocks for nuclear ships as politicians object to their arrival in port. However, despite their problems, the nuclear navy has a lot going for it. One of its biggest strengths is that nuclear-powered ships don't need to hook up to fleet oilers or return to port to refuel after long operations. One of the nuclear navy's strong points is also their safety record. With over 5,400 reactor years and 130 million miles steamed on over 100 reactors, they have managed to do this without a single nuclear incident. For achievements, the nuclear navy has one significant one, and that is Operation Sea Orbit. When the USS Enterprise, USS Bainbridge, and the USS Long Beach completed a 65-day, 30,000-mile cruise. Whether you are for or against nuclear power, it's hard to argue that the Navy has seen a lot of success as a pioneer in this field. This has been an effective way for them to reduce fuel costs. However, only time will tell if the pros will continue to outweigh the cons.